We had a quick look a couple of videos ago at the McLaren garage. We didn't get a very good view of the actual cars, so what I thought I would do is try and just have a look at the cars if we can. Hopefully they won't mind too much. It's also a beautiful day, and so the colours should show up well. What we'll try and do is we'll have a look at the McLaren garage. There's a Rolls-Royce place not far away, and there's also a sort of exotics garage and a Ferrari stroke Maserati garage. So we're going to do a little tour of garages. As I mentioned in a previous video, some garages get rather protective about not looking around their stock with a video camera, but hopefully they won't mind. Nice. One to start with, the 570S Spider. So Spider, if you don't know, means that the roof retracts. This is the baby of the McLaren range, so it'll only set you back about 130, 150. Okay, but the 570 is their little baby, and it slowly gets a bit more punchy as you go further up. So 570 GT, so that's the Spider, that's the GT, so that's the harder roof. But you can see, apart from the carbon fibre outfit there, the slots here, because the doors do a rather nifty little opening procedure. Engine, obviously, mid-engine, and you can just see in there, and then the big boy. So this is the 720. This is a punchy car, both in colour and speed, and to be honest, if you were going to have one and you had the money, it's probably this one or the Spider, to be honest. Or you could go for the long tail, the LT, which has exhaust pipes that come out of its top. So this one doesn't actually, but in the LT you get exhaust coming out the back here behind, which is quite a novel little function. But you've got to love those colours and the wheels. I mean, look at the size of those brake discs, absolutely enormous. Anyhow, that's a little taste of a McLaren. Massive shout out there to McLaren in Ascot, who have just let me film their cars, which is really good of them. Didn't by any means have to, but they did, which was really good of them. And I was obviously only allowed to show the stock cars, the ones in stock, rather than individuals' cars, because they tend to get customized quite a lot, especially in terms of sort of colour and that sort of thing. That purple one that I saw in Meeting the Queen vid, that was on show beautifully, but I'm afraid I couldn't show it. You can glimpse it in that video above, but otherwise I'm sorry to say that we're not going to be having a close-up look at that one. Here, Rolls-Royce on the left, there you go, the Phantom Menace. Love that place. Sadly we're not going to stop in there. However, if you fancy something just a little bit more unusual and exotic, then I can highly recommend the Super Vettura in Sunningdale. Now, we might, on the way back from Ferrari, try and get a little look in there, because there are some extraordinary things. It's the Rozzers, my friends. Always see them about up there if you want to see me chatting to some nice ones. Right here, where we might see one or two interesting little things. Oh, that's quite something, that blue one. Wow. I'm not a massive Ferrari fan, but oh dear, dear me, this is a hell of a place. I just love that one over there. What is that? I'm sure those of you who are even more car-y than me, or at least more Ferrari than me, I'm not a Ferrari guy. Anyhow, let's go and see if we have as much luck with Ferrari as we did with McLaren. Because of the deal that they have with Ferrari UK, I can't do some in-depth filming of these cars, which is a real disappointment. They don't want to get into trouble with their their suppliers, not surprisingly, because you know, you wouldn't want Ferrari to get too upset with you if you're an independent garage. This little blue number here, though, is a hell of a thing, even at 200,000. So lottery win, please, or just so many subscribers that the internet breaks. I think those are the only two options. Very nice indeed. Sorry I can't bring you that, but that's just the way it goes. So really kindly, we have been allowed to film in here. So, starting off, Porsche GT2 RS, just in case you weren't sure. Pretty swanky. If you're looking for something a little more classic, over here, okay, Aston Martin. I know, doesn't look like it, but this is an Aston Martin. It's punchy, to say the least. It looks like a cockpit of an aeroplane, a fighter jet at that. Look at those exhausts and side skirts. Oh, I think you'll all recognise this one here, another classic. More standard Aston Martin. Then we go up a notch, more Aston Martin. Classic. Look at this. Classic Porsche. There's a 912. Going back some time now. And then McLaren. Not quite like the ones we saw earlier. I honestly don't know what it is. It says something like Dino GT or something. I genuinely do not know what this car is. So if you do know, please tell me in the comments below. All I need now is for you to tell me which one you want. Just before we go, I should point out, of course, that that is an Aston Martin Vulcan. The Vulcan is important simply because my bike is a Vulcan as well, so it seems only fair that that's the car I should get. So I don't know what you're going to get, but that one's mine. You're not having it. Vulcan to Vulcan. Better put this back on. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is Supercar Heroes 1. We'll go more supercar hunting sometime in the future. We've seen some pretty interesting exotics, Ferrari, McLaren, and one or two other pretty naughty cars. That Vulcan is mine. Do not get any ideas about buying that, because you know, when I do win the lottery, I'm getting a sensible street car, something you can go to the shops in, just pick up your groceries. It does look like an absolute jet inside. Back past the Phantom Menace. Got to love a good hedge trim. There is nothing better than a well-trimmed bush.